Most recently, request for the payroll has been asked for on 2 occasions via email and no answer. So as it stands right now, we've gone a month and a half. The last payroll that I've seen was September 1st. And we want to make sure we have this information before the next board meeting to be able to vote on it.
Hi you guys, welcome back. So this video is going to be on the board taking action to get things kind of moving along as far as Tiffany's administration not giving them the information they need about payroll of all things. So let's hear Trustee Jason House kind of explain the reasonings why they needed to go ahead and make this rule or ordinance regarding them not getting the information they need for payroll.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is discussion and possible action regarding ordinance number 21 amending ordinance 1-6-4 powers and duties. Trustee House.
Thank you very much. This ordinance was put up here authorizing the finance department or department heads to have conversations or to speak with the board members regarding issues or questions that they may have. I will say I put this up here specifically because there are a couple of times that I made phone calls in to department heads and they were instructed that the administration or mayor or administration would not allow for that. So I'm asking that we move this forward so that way the department heads have the access to make sure that they speak with the board members to get the information we're looking for.
Okay, so pretty straightforward. Jason is stating that they want to put this ordinance in place because they feel that Tiffany's staff is not getting them the information they need. Let's hear Tiffany's response.
Okay. Well, I hate to hear that because I never instructed anybody not to give you any payroll reports. Why would I do that? So, Chris, you're on here. Chris?
So this is where she passes the buck. Okay, so Chris is the finance guy, so she's gonna have him explain what's going on when really she should know what's going on. But you know, of course, she's gonna act like she doesn't. Let's go ahead and hear Chris.
So Chris, you're on here. Chris? So we're gonna get it cleared up right now. And this is what I states to you guys all the time. If y'all have an issue or something's not being done, or maybe got just dropped at the wayside for whatever reason, you guys can call my phone.
Okay, you guys, I thought Chris was gonna come on, but then again, you know, I have to remind myself, look at who's talking, you know, look who we're dealing with. She's gonna get some extra words in. She's gonna, you know, get in there and, you know, she has to put up her smoke and mirrors. She has to put up some forms of deflection first before she lets anyone else come in and talk. At this point, she actually talked so much trying to defend herself and blame the trustees for not reaching out to her enough that she forgot that she was supposed to let Chris talk. Or was it actually a mistake? Did she mean to do that on purpose? Did she really want them to try to forget that he was actually supposed to address what's going on? Let's go ahead and watch.
And with that being said, I've always gotten the information, so why would I not give it to you guys now? So that's the direction. Any other questions or concerns?
I thought Chris was going to elaborate on that because I want to make sure that I'm completely understanding because I'm here which is also why I prefer the email, so that way there is documented communication. I'm not here to lie on anybody else, not only the mayor, Chris, anybody. The first couple of times that I had these concerns, I spoke about them privately, but I mean, trying to email it was documented, and I would love for Chris to kind of tell me, am I crazy when we spoke, or what?
Okay, so Chris told you that I said you can have it. Is that what you're stating now, or what are you stating?
Yes.
I didn't get the question.
Yes.
Okay, that's the question. Okay, Chris, come on.
Okay, so last time we spoke about this, it was my understanding that the board to run these through you, these payroll reports that basically are the earnings from each payroll and the differences between last payroll and current payroll, and the subsequent report that is attached to that, any new changes in payroll. So any new hires, any changes in salaries, any of those types of items. Last we spoke, I was to run those through you.
Okay. So, Chris, that's not true as it relates to run through me, as it relates to payroll reports.
Oh my goodness. So she's throwing Chris under the bus right now, of course. Anything that anyone says that goes against, you know, what she is saying, they're the ones lying, okay? She's like, that is not true as it relates to, her famous words. Why would he just sit up there and totally fabricate, a conversation or communications that they had regarding the payroll and it having to go through her? Why would he do that? It doesn't sound like a sane thing for someone to do, to just totally make up something, right? But it sounds like something Tiffany Henyard would do. And that's my honest opinion. She continuously contradicts herself. And then as we see here, she has no problem throwing anyone else under the bus, even people that are on her administration. Let's continue to watch.
I tell you, just like I tell anybody, when anybody come in and ask for certain items, y'all know my phone number, call me and let me know. That's what I've told anybody that works here for me. So what I'm saying to you with a payroll report, why would I need you to give me the payroll report for the staff? Why would I need that? I don't need that. I got the same information that you're giving to the board. Why would I have to give you the okay to say, give them the payroll report or give them the warrant list? All those items, I've always told you to give it to them. Even when you told me that Jason came in and asked for it, I told you to what? Give it to him. So let's get it clear for the record since we're talking about it. So I don't have to lie about anything like that. That's why I'm saying it verbally out of my mouth to the board and you, Chris. Give them whatever they want or need, so that no one is going behind my back saying that I said something that I did not say. Because what am I going to do with a payroll report? What would be the reason for me keeping the payroll report from the Board of Trustees?
I think anyone with a half a brain could figure out why she might want to keep the payroll report from the trustees. Because she doesn't want them seeing who's on it, if there's any raises that were put in there without, their approval. A number of reasons why. But the real question is, why is she basically calling Chris a liar? Chris just said, hey, you told me to run it by you. And then she turns around and blatantly just calls him out as a liar. Oh, well, yeah, you guys, let's not forget she says, for the record, and I'm saying it out in public. Because we all know that when Tiffany Henyard says, for the record, everything that follows is the absolute truth, right? Right. And of course, Chris, he doesn't really have a backbone, first of all. He's going to go along with the administration that's in place right now because he was under the previous mayor, Riley Rogers, and he would just go along because that's his job. He probably doesn't want to get fired. So he just went ahead and just dealt with it. Let's listen.
And not only that, you are the chairperson of finance. So all the lies need to stop. That's why I keep saying to the Board of Trustees, call my phone. That's why I say that all the time, because people will lie. People will say anything to save themselves. So just call me. That's it. And we can clear it up. So now it is clear. Clerk Key, can you please call the roll?
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Yeah, go ahead. And just so y'all know, we got one more item and it's 10:20.
So as we can see, Tiffany stood by her original position, which was Chris was lying and that those were not her directions to him. So let's go ahead and hear Trustee Kiana Belcher because she's saying, basically the same thing that Jason House said. Let's listen.
I am so glad you just stated that publicly, because I've actually even put in a FOIA and haven't received anything as an elected official. And I also, myself and Trustee Norwood, has been on the phone with Chris, and we were directed that he had to speak to the mayor. So for you to say that you haven't said it, I applaud you that this has been publicly known, because the conversations that we've had in trying to get items that we want to verify before we make informed decisions has not been provided to us. So thank you for saying that, and hopefully the information that is being requested is provided to us in a timely manner, especially if it's something that we have to vote on.
So I feel that Trustee Kiana Belcher gave the mayor her credit for speaking up in public and holding Chris accountable. Because from what we can see from the outside looking in, since Chris is not defending himself, that he may have been lying. And so that's what Trustee Kiana Belcher is saying. I commend you for saying that in public and just basically setting the record straight for us. But let's hear the mayor's reaction, because it's really interesting, because I feel like Kiana Belcher was trying to extend an olive branch, so to say, unless I'm reading into that wrong. You guys, let me know if you feel like there was something to this, something more like an undertone to it that I didn't catch. But from what I could see, I felt like she was actually trying to be civil with Tiffany, but this is Tiffany's response. Let's listen.
Because myself and Trustee Norwood have experienced that Chris stated it had to be emailed and I guess ran through you before it can come to us, and we still have not received the items.
Okay, so I know, again, nothing about that, and I just said it. I'm going to say it again for you. I just said it. Call my phone if you had a problem, Trustee Belcher. So obviously it wasn't big enough problem for you to call the mayor to get it addressed. So as it relates to FOIAs, I'm not over FOIAs. So let's get it clear when everybody keep putting stuff out there. The mayor don't do FOIAs. I don't respond to a FOIA. That's the clerk's office. So if it's something you did not get, you need to contact her office to make sure you get that item. As it relates to financials, again, I just stated that and I'm saying it again. Any financial information that you guys want, you can receive. I'm not holding to it. I'm not holding it up. It is for everyone. Even community can basically FOIA financials here in the village of Dolton and get the information. So that's why I'm saying to you again publicly, I didn't say that. That's untrue as it relates to you guys getting information. And I just told Chris to give y'all the information that y'all need. So if it's something you need, make sure you get it from him. But I will say this and add this to it. You guys do not run day-to-day operations. As it relates to going into people's departments or interrupting their work schedule, you guys have to stop doing that and make sure that y'all either send them an email so that they can oblige to whatever it is that some of you guys go and request them of. So just make sure we can keep that in line, then it's fine. I have no issues.
Okay, so it looks like Tiffany is definitely on the defense, okay? Not a position we haven't seen her in before. But at the same time, if she is telling the truth, okay, you guys, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. Don't come at me. Anyone would be upset if someone did blatantly just lie and say that they said something they didn't say. But I got a sneaky feeling that that's not what really happened. But once again, Chris is not speaking up to this. He doesn't have anything else to say about it. He's just been pretty much on mute. So that being said, with Tiffany on the defense and putting people in their place and all that good stuff like she does, let's hear Kiana Belcher's response.
All right, hold on. Thank you so much, Mayor. And in reference, just to clear up the FOIA situation, the only reason I FOIA'd it is because I wasn't able to get it. So I'm a resident before an elected official. So that was the only reason. So I understand that you're not over the clerk's office, but I just wanted to be clear on why I did that, because I tried to obtain it as being an elected official to make an informed decision and wasn't given the information. So that's the only reason that was done. So I just want to be very clear on that. Okay. But thank you so much.
Right, but you just stated that you FOIA'd something and didn't get it. And what I'm saying to you, if you didn't get it, I got nothing to do with FOIAs or whatever information come back from the FOIA officer, which is the clerk.
Oh my goodness, you guys. I really don't think Tiffany listens. And I know a lot of you are probably like, oh, duh, you're just coming to this conclusion. But yeah, it just becomes more and more apparent when you sit here and you listen to these board meetings and you hear them go back and forth. You're like, did she even just listen to what Kiana just said? Or was she just sitting there waiting to talk and defend herself? Because she's constantly doing that, right? She's constantly feels like she always has to make herself, appear in this wondrous light, like she said, she's a beacon of light for Dolton and all this good stuff. I mean, she's even compared herself to Jesus.
Because at the end of the day, they talked about Jesus Christ. So why don't I think y'all are not going to do me the same way? Somebody that's healing y'all and helping y'all. Same thing I'm over here doing, right? Healing and helping.
So she's constantly in campaign mode and no one is coming between her and her votes, basically. So we have a couple of other trustees who have some input about this. Let's go ahead and listen.
Okay, anyone else?
Yes.
Trustee Steve, go ahead.
All right. So let's make this very clear. Chris, you will give it the payroll reports that we haven't received in about a month and a half. The trustee house said we'll get them tomorrow.
I have Zoom trainings in the morning for the new software, but by the afternoon, I do have a break in between. So by the afternoon at the latest, you should have the last few payroll reports.
Thank you.
You said payroll's in a month and a half. I think he just said y'all didn't get it over a week, right, Trustee House?
No, I've not gotten one since September 1st. The August 27th payroll was the last one, which is the entire month of September, as well as the early one in October.
Okay, so you do know my number, right? could have got the situation.
You were on the emails. I'm not, and I'll say this because there is a lot of back and forth. I included it via email, and not only yourself, Chris, administrator, all attorneys, because we get in here and then everything goes different. I wish it didn't, but it does. So I would rather, and also, as you mentioned, to not be intrusive on the employee's work. So I'm not trying to be difficult, and I really wasn't going to chime in again, but I will say all of this was done via email.
Okay. So, and again, I'm going to keep saying it. Y'all call me if y'all got an issue. Go ahead, Trustee Norwood, and then we're going to call her out.
Okay, so now we hear Trustee House putting things more into perspective, right? He's saying that he even emailed her about these issues, but once again, she didn't get back to them. There was no communication, and they haven't gotten the payroll, a couple of months? And she was only under the impression that it was a couple of weeks. That's at least what she's claiming. So I guess we should just believe her, right? Because, it's for the record and all that good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and continue because Trustee Brittany Norwood had something else to say about this as well. Let's listen.
Yeah, man, I was just going to state that I'm glad that moving forward, Chris stated that he'll be able to assist us because there was a moment where I was quite frustrated while I was going over the warrant list. And I had a question, and I did have Trustee Belcher on the phone, and we called Chris, but we weren't provided with the information because we were told that we had to, for whatever reason, we had to go through you to get the information instead. So I just thankfully, he just stated moving forward, we won't have any issues receiving payroll, and that he'll be able to answer our questions. So thank you, Chris, and thank you, Mayor.
No problem. Okay, can you call the roll to move forward to the next agenda?
So basically, they're just going to vote on this ordinance that Trustee House mentioned earlier in the video. That's going to basically put into place more communication between the administration and the trustees, and holding them more accountable with getting them the information they need. So they went ahead and they all voted yes on this, of course, and they passed it. So the fact that they had to do this and pass this ordinance because of the communication and them not receiving the information they needed actually brings us up to date with a most recent board meeting in Thornton Township where Tiffany Henyard is the supervisor. So I'm going to play this clip for you guys, and you'll just kind of see how these behaviors are still going on, even though it's not in Dolton. But for some reason, Tiffany finds a way to blame everyone else, even though she's the common denominator in both locations. Let's watch.
Right?
That's a typo.
Okay. Anybody when y'all don't pay bills? Trustees? Y'all don't pay nobody? Y'all want to give the public a reason why we're not paying bills tonight?
Okay, so again, it was to put, organization and structure and responsible spending in place. And since those ordinances were not placed on the agenda, I don't feel comfortable supporting the spending. So once the ordinances are put in place and supported, I'll feel more comfortable if there's structure, organization, and a limit set and is forced, not forced, but just enforced that there's responsible spending with the township funds.
So you guys, what happened is that the trustees are basically at a stalemate. They don't want to vote on the bills because they put an ordinance on the agenda, or they wanted to, and it wasn't put on there. Okay. And we've seen this before over in Dolton, where Tiffany just puts her items on the agenda and she doesn't put the trustees or anyone else's. And that's not how it's supposed to go because it's the Board of Trustees meeting. It's not, Supervisor Henyard or Mayor Henyard meeting. But as we can see, she's pulling the same shenanigans over there in Thornton Township. And now the Board of Trustees over there are starting to sound a little bit more like the Dolton trustees.
Each month, my minutes are not placed on the agenda. Why my minutes are not being put on this agenda to be approved, I do not understand. The board don't get to put anything on the meeting agenda, and neither do I. The agenda was removed from my office so that the mayor can control the agenda. That's why no one up here can put anything on this agenda but her.
But once again, the common denominator in both situations is who? Tiffany Henyard, right? Okay. All right, you guys. So that's going to be it for today. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave it a like. And if you're new here, subscribe.
Okay, trustee, you are so wrong with everything that you're trying to do here.
I think that you should tell the people the real reason why you're doing all this chaos here at the township, when the township's actually doing better than where it was. Ms. Ivy came, the supervisor.